Now I want to introduce the amazing Monica Raye Simpson from SisterSong.
To come to this stage and have you just look at me like I'm just supposed to just, talk to you. We are here building a movement for reproductive freedom together, right? So that requires all of us to be here in this room, present and ready to receive, right? So, and before I get to speaking or whatever, let's make some noise together. Can we do that? Just the biggest noise that you can make. Everybody, give it to the room. Come on. Yes. Yes. That's what this work is all about, our energy, the way that we pull that together. Y'all, I am so excited. Every year I get so excited about coming to this event because I feel like it is a family reunion. I feel like I get to walk in the door, hug neck, see people I haven't seen except for on social media or heard on a conference call. It feels so good to be home. Y'all feel good to be home? Now, this year I was really concerned about okay, I get to speak at this thing and I get to share some thoughts with folks. What am I going to say this year? Every year I kind of sing and that's dope, but what can I really talk about this year? And what's interesting is I was like, oh, I could really just talk about the fact that SisterSong is getting ready to go into our 20th anniversary next year. That's really exciting. I could talk about all the work that we're doing to build Southern synergy. Have y'all heard about that work that we're doing to build Southern synergy? Amazing work. I could also talk about our Artists United for Reproductive Justice work and our culture shift work, but we have a workshop on that, so I was like, I won't really talk about that. And then I was like, but maybe I can talk about the reproductive justice training program that has trained hundreds and thousands of people in reproductive justice all around the country and that continues to grow every single year. But I was like, they already know about all of that. So I don't need to talk about that. What I do want to talk about, though, when we look at this big banner every single year, it says, building a movement for reproductive freedom. And so I got to thinking about, if you're building something, right, you got to have some tools. So I started to think about what are the tools necessary to really build this movement for reproductive freedom. Because we know that we're under attack. Marlene talked about it. We're going to hear so many speakers talk about all the different type of work they're doing across amazing movements. But in order for us to do that, we have to have tools to build the movement. So what's the first tool I feel like we need in this bag of ours to build this movement for reproductive freedom? What do you think the first tool is? What do you think? Love. We're going to get to that. I want you to hold that one, because you are so on point. But we're going to start with our gifts. Everybody in this room has a gift. Everyone in this room has a unique way in which they do the work that they do. You have a unique voice. You have a unique answer to all of this work. It is time for us to start to nurture our gifts, not just to do the work, but to do the personal work necessary to really dig deep into who we are as an individual, all of those beautiful identities that we have, all of those beautiful, amazing nuggets of wisdom that we have in us, and to push those things forward. We have to have our gifts. Those are the first thing in the bag. What do you think the second thing in the bag is? Passion is super important, right? But what about our voice? Everybody in this room has a voice, whether it's audible or written, right? You have a voice. You have something to say. I can guarantee you I can stop anybody as we walk out of this room and ask them what their feelings are about what's happening in the world right now, and everybody would have a unique position. Everyone would have a unique way in which they really understood or felt what was happening in the world right now. We have to use our voice. So we have another thing in the bag too, right? Because we're going to get to love. Don't forget about that. It's another thing in the bag. What do you think it is? There we go. Y'all are on point now. Each other. It's our collective power, y'all. We have each other. We have each other. I want y'all to clap for that because we have each other. If we're in this room right now, that means we are able to breathe the breath of life, which means that we are able to activate our gifts, which means that we are able to use our voice, which then means that we are able to come together collectively to have the collective power necessary to build this movement for reproductive freedom. It takes each and every one of us across movements, across lines of difference to build this movement. And so then we think about that last piece that's in the bag, and you brought it up so beautifully. What is that? Love. How often do we take time in our spaces to stop the work and to think about how we're caring for each other, to think about how we're nurturing each other, to think about how we're showing love with each other? Sometimes we just have to stop and just look at each other in the eye and say that I see you. I see you. Do me a favor, turn to the person next to you and just let them know that you see them today. It's kind of weird at first, right? Because you're like, I see you. Okay, right? But the more that we do that, the more of a connection we build. Because even in that moment that you all just made that one quick connection, the energy shifted in the room immediately. So we have this bag of tools with us to build this movement. We have our gifts. We have our voice. We have our collective power. And most importantly, we have our love for each other, for the work that we do. It's hard work that we do. Very hard. Always on the defense, it feels like, right? But if we remember those tools that we have in the bag, then I guarantee you that we are going to build a movement for reproductive freedom that's going to take us even further. It's going to take us one step further, and then one step further, and then we'll be in a place where liberation is possible for all. So I have to stop, but I have one thing I want to do because I can't not be up here. I gave you some things that you can take with you, but I want to make sure that we can all put our voices in the room really quickly. So can y'all do this with me? Y'all know it's my chant. I'm going to do it everywhere I go, right? Are y'all ready? So repeat after me. Are y'all ready? Wake up, good people. You got a whole bunch of speakers that's about to come up here. I need y'all to get crunk just a little bit, all right? So we must fight for freedom. That was real weak. Do that again. We must fight for freedom. We must fight for justice. It will take all of us to get to the other side. Now sing it with me. Can you do it? Here we go. We must fight for freedom. There you go. We must fight for justice. It will take all of us to get to the other side. I'm glad I'm on the side with y'all, and I'm glad that we are building this movement together. We love you at SisterSong, and I love you, and I cannot wait to continue to do the rest of this conference with you and to hear from the rest of these amazing speakers. Y'all have a beautiful morning. Peace and blessings.